Good morning. Good to have you with us. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. Thank you so much for starting your day with us. We're going to begin with that ongoing shutdown at the Department of Homeland Security, which continues to create this chaos that we're seeing at airports across the country. As we enter day 41 of this partial shutdown, the TSA says wait times at security checkpoints, they're now their longest in history. And there's still no sign of relief for travelers.
It's because lawmakers are still haggling over a deal to fund DHS, despite earlier signs an agreement was close. TSA officers who have not quit are still working without pay. As we've reported this week, President Trump sent ICE agents to airports hoping they can help out. NBC News Washington correspondent Alice Barr joins us with the latest. Alice, good morning.
Good morning, Joe and Savannah. And here's the backdrop to those long airport lines. We heard from the acting TSA administrator who said that TSA workers, they are going without pay, of course, and some of them are defaulting on loans. They are draining their retirement savings. They are losing cars. They are losing childcare. And that really paints a clear picture for why we're seeing so many call out and add to the chaos at the airports.
This morning, record-long security lines at some of the nation's busiest airports.
We were at the airport for 9 hours yesterday and still didn't make our flights.
Facing a new holdup as lawmakers clash over whether to restore TSA worker pay without addressing the immigration enforcement reforms Democrats have been demanding for weeks. President Trump slamming the opposing party.
They want to create chaos. It's all they're good at, creating chaos.
Republicans thought they had a deal to separate money for ICE enforcement while funding the rest of the Department of Homeland Security now. But Democrats say they won't move forward without guaranteed ICE reforms and thought negotiations were making progress.
We thought there had been some progress. But then Republicans sent us their offer yesterday and contained none of what had been talked about. None of the reforms we had been discussing.
Republicans quickly swatting down Democrats' counteroffer to restore funding with ICE changes like body cameras and no masks. President Trump saying he may bring in the National Guard to join ICE at airports in trying to move lines along. As the acting TSA administrator told lawmakers on Capitol Hill, they may need to close smaller airports without enough officers on hand, noting if they miss another paycheck this Friday.
We will have reached nearly $1 billion in missed paychecks. This level of disruption is unprecedented and unacceptable and significantly undermines the security of U.S. transportation systems.
That serious warning underscoring the travel mess.
And it's not just TSA. We also heard from a Coast Guard admiral who said that this Department of Homeland Security shutdown is eroding mission readiness for upcoming events like the FIFA World Cup, that it's preventing their being able to pay utility bills for critical infrastructure. And remember, these lawmakers are supposed to get out of town tomorrow for a 2-week recess, so they're under some serious pressure to figure this out before they get on any planes, guys.
So, yeah, Alice, with that in mind, yeah, first they'll be waiting if they try to get on a plane. But what are the areas of agreement right now, and what are the sticking points that are keeping both sides from reaching that deal?
Yeah, I mean, if you've been following along this week, it's a little bit confusing because we've been talking about how Democrats had previously said they wanted to see ICE funding, immigration enforcement funding, spliced off so that they could get TSA and these other agencies funded. But it seems that some of the hang-up came when we started to hear about this plan that Republicans wanted to later fund ICE through reconciliation, which doesn't require any Democrats' votes and would therefore cut out any possibility, any leverage that Democrats would have to try to make the kinds of substantive reforms that they've been promising to push for all along.
All right, Alice Barr in Washington. Alice, thank you.
Let's move now to the latest developments out of the Middle East as the U.S. nears 4 weeks at war with Iran. Well, new this morning, Israel's defense minister says they have killed the commander of Iran's Navy, who was responsible for blocking the critical Strait of Hormuz. NBC News has also learned from 2 sources in the region and a U.S. official that the U.S. has sent Iran a 15-point plan to end the war. The sources said the proposal was delivered to Iranian officials through Pakistan.
Iranian state media reported that Iran, quote, responded negatively to that American proposal. In response, Iran issued a counter-proposal that includes a complete halt to what it calls aggression and assassinations. Iran also asking for recognition of its sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz. This comes as President Trump has approved the deployment of more than 1,000 paratroopers to the Middle East. The leader of Iran's parliament is warning that Tehran is closely monitoring U.S. troop movements in the region.
NBC News International correspondent Raf Sanchez joins us now from Doha, Qatar with more. Raf, good morning. Let's start with the back and forth over possible peace negotiations here between the U.S. and Iran. Tell us what we know about this 15-point plan.
Guys, good morning. So we know that this 15-point plan was delivered to the Iranians by Pakistani intermediaries, and it appears to cover the set of demands that the U.S. laid out before the war, limitations on Iran's nuclear program, its uranium enrichment, its ballistic missiles, its support for proxy groups. And it appears, guys, that it is completely unacceptable to the Iranians. Iran's foreign minister on TV earlier today saying there are no negotiations, that this plan put forward by the United States is a non-starter, and the Iranians have put their own pithier 5-point plan on the table in response. As you said, it calls for an end to U.S. and Israeli attacks. It calls for compensation for damages that Iran has suffered over the course of the war. It calls for an end to attacks on Iranian proxy groups. So, for example, Israel's campaign against Hezbollah in Lebanon. And finally, it calls for Iranian sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz to be recognized, basically making legal what Iran has made in fact, which is that they are in a position to threaten, to control to some degree, passage through that critical waterway. So at this point, guys, it really does not seem like these negotiations, which President Trump has sounded so optimistic about, are making much progress.
And Raf, amid these mixed messages from the U.S. and Iran, we know the fighting continues across the Middle East. What is the latest on that from the region?
Yeah, so you mentioned Israel's defense minister announced this morning that Israel has killed what it says is the head of the IRGC Navy, an official who was deeply involved, they say, in mining and blocking the Strait of Hormuz. I'll read you just a little bit of the statement from Israel's defense minister. They say this is a clear message to all senior members of the Iranian terrorist organization, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which currently controls Iran. The IDF will hunt you down and eliminate you one by one. Now, guys, we should say, if we've learned anything from the last 3 weeks of war, there is no reason to think that the killing of a senior naval official is going to lead to Iran ending its blockage of the Strait of Hormuz. Clearly, the absolute core of Iran's war strategy is putting pressure on global energy markets by cutting the passageway of ships through that critical waterway. You mentioned Israel was hit earlier by an Iranian ballistic missile with cluster munitions. That's caused some damage. And then here in the Gulf, 2 people were killed in the UAE earlier today by an Iranian strike. The authorities there are saying that that missile was intercepted, but the debris fell fatally down to the ground. That is the first time anyone has been killed in that country in about a week now. Guys?
Raf, and this all comes as Iran has been hit hard. U.S. Central Command says U.S. forces have struck more than 10,000 military targets in Iran. What is the latest on their ability to retaliate?
Well, clearly their military abilities have been degraded. You know, they fired something like 1,000 missiles and drones on the first day of the war. It's down now to less than 100 per day. But as you can see, they still maintain the ability to threaten the Strait of Hormuz, and with that, they can put pressure on the entire world. And they also maintain the ability to strike against their neighbors, Israel and the Gulf states. So they may be weakened, but they are still in this fight. And a number of those ballistic missiles and those low-cost drones are making their way through the combined air defenses of the U.S. and its allies, and they are causing real damage and fatalities on the ground. Guys.
All right. Raf Sanchez, thank you very much.
NBC News senior national politics reporter Jonathan Allen joins us now from Washington with more on reaction from there. John, good morning. So how did President Trump react to what we were just discussing with Raf there, Iran reportedly denying these negotiations with the U.S.?
Not well, Joe, and good morning to you and Savannah. President Trump has a very different view of what's going on as this talk about the talks or talk about the not talks continues to go on. It's a little bit reminiscent, although much more serious than two candidates debating over who's going to debate and who's dodging debates. But let's take a listen to what President Trump actually had to say.
I tell you, we're winning so big, nobody's ever seen anything like we're doing in the Middle East with Iran. And they are negotiating, by the way, and they want to make a deal so badly, but they're afraid to say it because they figure they'll be killed by their own people. They're also afraid they'll be killed by us. There's never been a head of a country that wanted that job less than being the head of Iran.
And so you hear President Trump there saying that the Iranians are negotiating, the Iranians saying that they're not negotiating. What appears to be clear here, even through public, is that they are negotiating about negotiations at the very least, and certainly both sides talk to intermediary countries. But, you know, direct negotiations is something that we haven't seen public evidence of yet.
John, yesterday on Capitol Hill, we saw some intelligence officers be briefed by lawmakers behind closed doors about the war with Iran, but really tensions flared. Why are lawmakers frustrated? What were they briefed on, and what are we hearing from the White House? Yeah,
according to our sources, this was a pretty tense meeting between members of the House Armed Services Committee and briefers from the administration about what's going on. The frustrations, and this is bipartisan, stem from what the lawmakers say is a lack of clarity about the mission, a lack of clarity in particular about whether the United States might put ground troops into Iran, and sort of whether that, not only whether that'll happen, but whether the United States will be able to adequately protect them if that happens. And so a lot of frustration on Capitol Hill, again, both sides, Republicans and Democrats. The White House says that it's done what it should be doing to do briefing.
John, this morning, and then looking ahead, we know President Trump is expected to host his first cabinet meeting since the war began nearly 4 weeks ago. What are you listening for? Do we expect the president to address any of these frustrations we were just talking about?
We haven't heard him address any frustrations of the American public or members of Congress with regard to the war in Iran. What we've heard him say is that the war is over. We've heard him say that he will continue to conduct the war. We've heard him call it an excursion. We've heard all sorts of things. And actually, that was one of the frustrations from members of Congress in that briefing yesterday, was that they feel like they've heard a lot of different justifications for the war, but have not heard a single one. So I think when you're watching the cabinet meeting, I mean, obviously watch for any change in what he's saying about what's going on in Iran, but also, what is the White House messaging on the thing that is frustrating so many voters, which is that this war is raising the price of gas at the pump?
All right, John, thank you so much.
Let's turn now to a landmark verdict in Los Angeles with the potential to have a massive impact on how social media companies operate. A
jury found both Meta and YouTube negligent for designing their platforms to be addictive to young users. They ordered the companies to pay $6 million in total damages. NBC News senior legal correspondent Laura Jarrett reports on this bellwether verdict.
Is crying tears of joy outside a Los Angeles courthouse after a jury returned a historic verdict against tech giants Meta and YouTube.
Big Tech, your gig is over.
In a first-of-its-kind case surrounding the question, are social media platforms dangerous for minors? The jury finding Meta, the parent company of Instagram, and YouTube negligent in designing their platforms to be addictive. A now 20-year-old woman who says she developed depression and anxiety from using social media as a kid awarded $6 million in damages. Parents and attorneys celebrating the landmark win.
We've sent a message with this that you will be held accountable for the features.
Internal company records on full display over the course of this 5-week trial, some suggesting Instagram wanted to maximize the time kids spend on the app. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg told the jury the company's goals changed over time, emphasizing its newer safety features for teens. For many, this trial has served as a referendum on what they see as the dangerous and addictive features of these platforms.
We've been screaming on the top of roofs about for years.
YouTube owner Google saying this case misunderstands YouTube and that the platform is not a social media site. Meta saying teen mental health is profoundly complex and cannot be linked to a single app. Both companies now vowing to appeal. It all comes on the heels of another verdict Meta says it will appeal. A New Mexico jury awarding the state $375 million on Tuesday against the company for creating a breeding ground for child sex predators.
Our thanks to Laura for that. For more, let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Misty Maris. She joins us here on set. Misty, good morning. So let's just start. Walk us through the jury's decision in this case.
So what the plaintiffs argued was that this was essentially engineering addiction against YouTube and Meta. And what the jury found is that they were both liable for the way that these platforms were designed, addictive to minors, and that also there was a failure to warn about those dangers. Now, this was brought by a single plaintiff. We call her KGM because she was a minor at the time the harm occurred. And they found that actually her use of these platforms was the cause of mental health issues that she suffered, and ultimately awarded $3 million in compensatory damages and $3 million in punitive damages.
In the past, we've seen cases like this focus on content. This time it looked at sort of the design and delivery of that content and how it made things addictive. From a legal perspective, how did that change things?
So there's this law, federal law 230. We've talked about it a lot. And it actually precludes liability against social media companies for the content that third parties post on that platform. So the content is off limits. So these lawsuits are really circumventing that by bringing a product's liability theory. It's the same theory that we saw Big Tobacco. That's one of the comparisons. But any product, a defective toaster, you name it, it's the same legal theory. And it talks specifically about the algorithm, the design, the way that these platforms are made, and the fact that the companies in this case knew or should have known that it could be harmful to minors.
All right, so there is just a whole log of additional cases similar to this here. How could this verdict here impact those cases?
So this is a bellwether case, right? Meaning it's the first of its kind. Now it's made it through trial, and everybody was waiting to see how this case would turn out. So you got about 1,500 waiting in the wings, and now you see juries are finding liability. The eyes are on this case to see what's the jury going to do with this. What types of damages are we talking about? And keep in mind, if you're the defendants here, Meta and YouTube, and also all the other big tech social media platforms, you're watching this because you're looking at these issues globally. You're defending a lot of different cases, and you're strategizing not just based on this one case, but about how this, the legal landscape overall.
So we now have two cases this week, very different, making headlines. Both are jury cases. Does that suggest we're sort of seeing a sea change here in public opinion? And what could that mean for potentially many, many cases moving forward dealing with these issues?
Yes, we have a jury case in New Mexico brought by the state of New Mexico under a consumer frauds theory. This brought by a single plaintiff under a negligence theory. But to your point, 230, let me tell you when that law went into effect, 1996. So for those of us who remember the dial-up AOL internet, can't be on the phone while you're using it, well, now this is at your fingertips, every single app. So there's been a lot of momentum for change. The legislature has not been able, Congress has not been able to step in and make that change. And now you're seeing the change being made through this liability and litigation landscape.
Both companies here say that they plan to appeal. What does that end up looking like?
No surprise there, because even if this award were $1, we can all agree $6 million to these companies is not, it's a drop in the bucket, right?
Totally.
But just because there's liability, if the award had been even less, they're going to appeal because the legal standard is developed in the appellate courts. The appellate court doesn't second guess, did a jury get it right? What they say is, should this have ever gone to the jury to begin with, taking into considerations all those protections that we spoke about?
Mr. Maris, so interesting. Thank you so much.
We are tracking a severe storm that could bring hail, damaging winds, possibly some tornadoes across the upper Midwest. Let's get a closer look now with your morning News Now weather.
Andrew Lastman's here in studio. Hey, Andrew, good morning.
Hi, guys. Good morning to you. We've got the potential for some strong storms to develop here as the day goes on, but we're already waking up to some wet weather across parts of Ohio, Indiana, Indianapolis. You guys were just dealing with some thunderstorms, and up back across parts of the upper Midwest, Minneapolis waking up to some showers and even some thunderstorms developing here over the next hour or so. But it's late later today that we really watch to see things ramp up. Along and ahead of this kind of cold front, it's going to be strong. We're seeing really some cold air colliding with that very warm air that we know we've been dealing with for days and days. And that leaves us with the potential, really all the ingredients there to see some of these stronger storms develop. It looks like right now we'll initially see very large hail at the start of this, and then that evolves into a wind threat as we get deeper into the day. So damaging hail up to 2 inches or larger. We'll see the potential for wind gusts up to 75 miles per hour, and we cannot rule out a couple of tornadoes as well. Notice this goes from Pennsylvania really all the way to Missouri, including Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, Columbus. Those are the 3 locations that you'll notice have that enhanced risk. So those are the spots we're going to see the better chances of those threats developing. As we get into tomorrow, your Friday, finishing out your work week, it's the showers and a couple of kind of wet spots from the mid-Atlantic all the way to the Tennessee Valley. This is going to leave us behind this system with some cooler and breezier conditions as well. But before we get done with this rain, we're going to pick up maybe an inch or so in those higher amounts, anywhere from Pittsburgh to Indianapolis. You can expect that. Meanwhile, the heat continues out west, and so does the fire alerts. We've still got 8 million people under these red flag warnings. We've got a kind of a wind shift that's going to happen with that cold front, and we've got the potential to see really some extreme fire behavior over the next day or so. This stretches across the Rockies, across the plains, Oklahoma City, Amarillo, Albuquerque, all included in that. We've got dry conditions, we've got windy conditions, we've got the heat, all of those ingredients that really leave us with the potential for fire to start and spread. So critical risk for Amarillo, Roswell, and Albuquerque today, but a larger region included in this here as we go through the day today. And otherwise, guys, multiple more records possible. I mentioned that heat. It's not going anywhere for the west right now. And even as we stretch out to parts of the East Coast, still dealing with that, but much cooler temperatures to come in some of those spots behind the cold front.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.